Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble. Acta non verba is the motto of the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I had appointments to Naval Academy and Kings Point Merchant Marine Academy. And Merchant Marine Academy's motto was acta non verba. In other words, don't listen to what a person says. Watch what they do. Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learn from you. So congratulations.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrive Time, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement, how to help you guys implement the SEO. And the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrive Time it's just been amazing for MultiClean. Oh my goodness, it frees me up because then I don't have to take a class on search engine optimization or learn marketing or shoot video. That's not what we do. What we do is commercial janitorial service. And you guys are the experts on marketing, and you teach me and hold my hand and show me how to do it right. And therefore, now my company is much, much larger.
Folks, on today's show, we're joined by a real client. He may look like a male model. He may look like a hologram, but he's a real person. He's a longtime client. He's a man that we consider to be a friend of the Thrive Time Show and a friend of mine. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Kevin. Welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
Clay, I'm doing great. Had a great Christmas holiday, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, so first question, can you tell us what is your name, first and last name, and what's the name of your company, sir?
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas and soon to be Arkansas.
And how long have we worked with you approximately at this point, sir?
It's been about 6-7 years.
One of our favorite things each and every week when we get it, it's not every week, but we try to get it.
Yeah.
We try to get this every Friday is to shift from, there's all these things going on in the world that we can't control, and it's going this way or it's going that way. They did this and they did that, to like, hey, what can I do to move the needle in my own life? Yeah. Whether you own a business or you are an entrepreneur working in a business and you want to move up, what are ideas that can actually, I mean, this should be the hottest thing that's happened in the world. What can you do to make your life better? Who doesn't?
So good.
Who doesn't want that?
No, I want it. How can I get better?
Nobody has focused on that idea in his own life so much that the cup overflows into how I can help other people. And the author of more books than most people have read, and the author of How to Build a Successful Business, but really should be How to Build a Successful Life, because that's what you're going to get in this segment with the one and only Clay Clark.
Yay!
Greetings from Tulsa, Jerusalem, and quick updates for anybody out there watching. As of right now, we have 3 tickets left. So Dave, if you have a family of 4, you have to leave someone at home. We have 3 tickets left for our September 26 event, our Make American Business Great Again event featuring Eric Trump, so many familiar faces from the Reawaken tour. You got Julie Green, Pastor Dave, Scarlett, Amanda Grace. And then we have Anaheim, California, December 4th and 5th, Dave. December 4th and 5th, Anaheim, California. And with all of our events, if you use promo code FLYOVER, you have a chance to win a backstage pass. You get a discount off of tickets. And then one final just shameless update, Dave. I've been talking to you about it off air a lot, but the book I've been working on with Eric Trump behind the scenes, Under Siege, Eric Trump's first book. I've been working on this thing obsessively behind the scenes. It's now the #1 book in the world on Amazon right now. And for any of your listeners, Dave, if they go to erictrumpbook.com, this is a real thing. If you buy a copy of the book and you text me proof of purchase, you have a chance to win an entire day with Eric Trump and I at Mar-a-Lago. So you might say, Clay, can you please not come? Can that just be Eric and I? Maybe we could arrange that too, but it'll be Eric Trump and I at Mar-a-Lago. And so again, if you want a chance to win a business conference ticket, you want a chance to spend a day with Eric Trump and myself at Mar-a-Lago, you could buy the book and text my number there, 918-851-0102, for a chance to win a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So Dave, there's a lot of good things going on there, sir.
Let's give that number again just a little slower. One more time.
It's 918-851-0102. And by the way, folks, I find that if I write it with a red marker, let me put it up here. This is the classy way to go about it. There's ways you can do it that are tacky and unprofessional. This is classy. This is 918-851. Dave, I'm practicing to become a homeless person. I bet get a piece of paper, write a number on it. 918-851-0102 to be bilingually sensitive. You just text proof of purchase. You buy the book Under Siege. Text proof of purchase. You have a chance to win a day with Eric Trump and myself at Mar-a-Lago, a backstage pass to the Reawaken. All these people that have been on the Reawaken tour, the Julie Greens, Amanda Grace, Pastor Dave, yourselves, you guys will be there in Anaheim, and everybody can come backstage and meet these folks if they're the winners. So it's going to be a blasty blast in Anaheim, a blasty blast in Tulsa, and it's a heck of a book, Dave.
Cannot wait. I'm really excited about reading the book. So it's a pre-order. When does the book actually come out?
October 14th. And
right around the
Eric
corner.
and I have been obsessively working away on this for like 2 years. And the cover is spectacular. And the book, for anybody out there who's a book reader, you say, why should I read this book? It's basically 3 parts is how I would describe it. Part 1 is sort of like, what's it like to be raised by Donald J. Trump? What's that like? Yeah. And it's his childhood, and it's fascinating. Phase 2 is sort of when your dad comes down the golden escalator and says he wants to run for president. What's that like? And then phase 3 is what's it like to run a company and to run a family while you're perpetually under siege. And so I think it's a great book if you're just into history, into business, want to learn mentorship. There's just so much there. I honestly, I worked editing the book, but I actually found it to be a very, very enjoyable book to read and to edit and to be a part of.
Wow.
Let me ask you a question. What's probably one thing that you learned in this that people would, if they learned this thing, it would be something that they don't get just watching clips on CNBC and seeing him speak in public? Like, what's something that's kind of like interesting that people might learn from this that they don't know already?
You're asking me one, and I'm just going to give you passively aggressively 5 because that's how my mind thinks. But 5 things, Dave. One is Donald J. Trump made Eric's childhood tough. So Eric's childhood was tough. You know, he is like, he's 12 years old, and he's like, son, you want to go buy a bike? That's cool. We're going to put you at minimum wage. Now you need to go work with a construction crew. All the guys who chain smoke, who are cursing, they're wearing the hard hats. And Eric says at the age of 12 and 13, he's literally going onto a construction site, and his dad said, give him no mercy. So he's like one of the guys, but he's prepubescent, that was real. The second thing is Eric's mother was more of the disciplinarian than his father. He said he kind of lived in suspended terror of his mother because she was all about manners, no drinking, no smoking, no screwing around. It was a big thing. And so Eric said his mother was the enforcer on no drinking, no smoking. Third is Eric's normal was very not normal. So Eric's in the living room while his dad is working with architects. There's part of the book where Eric is in the room with his father. His father's talking to architects. They're building a replica building, and this is what the building's going to look like when it's done. It's a 3D model. You can touch. It's tangible. Meanwhile, Eric is hanging out with Michael Jackson and Mike Tyson, and just this is the normal. So, Dave, I think about every page of the book kind of reads like that. And then my final two notes I'd have is, Eric's father, he would see somebody working on building a great wall, doing great masonry, and he would say, Eric, we're going to pull over. So Eric's, 15, 14, he's in the car with his dad. They pull over. And President Trump now, he would go to the construction worker who's doing the concrete, and he would say, this is a beautiful masonry wall. Are you the one building it? And the guy would say, yeah, I'm the owner. Oh, well, wow. Can I get your card? I'm Donald J. Trump. I'd like to hire you to build my walls. And Eric said that kind of thing would happen every day. And he said that he was a guy who would talk to anybody. So he said, Dave, even to this day, up until the time he became president, he said he could be walking through one of his properties and he would randomly stop and talk to anybody, any golfer, any employee, anybody there, and he would say, hey, Mr. Golfer, what do you think about this green? Do you like the way it plays? Hey, Mr. Customer, do you like this restaurant? Do you like it? Is the food good? Should we change the menu? And just that constant learning from everybody. But Dave, this book, you read books and I do too. This thing is like a Jim Rohn meets historical book. And if you wanted to save the country and were a fan of President Donald J. Trump's plan to make America great again, you're going to love it. I mean, honestly, this thing, you just fly through it page after page.
Wow, that is going to be such a great book. I cannot wait to read it. What's interesting, too, about that October 14th, sorry, David, I didn't interrupt you, but the October 14th date is that book is coming out. I know you guys have planned it for a long time, but that's actually Charlie Kirk's birthday as well.
I'll say this because I never want anyone to think that, sometimes you look into a camera and then the world takes a screenshot. So I'll just say this. I can't think of anybody who has got more people to attend church than Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
So
no doubt about it. Truly could have been one of the biggest youth pastors of all time.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I say this because, we're not going to agree with everybody. No one agrees with me on everything. But I think about how many people went to church last week, either in honor of him or because they were alerted to the kind of the Christianity or lack thereof crisis in America. So Charlie Kirk, job well done. I know our Lord and Savior is saying, well done, my good and faithful servant. Also, Eric Trump, this is something that he decided to do last week, and he's going to be donating a portion of the proceeds of every book sale to the Charlie Kirk Foundation.
Wow.
So what's happening is, when you buy a book, you're kind of like buying a lottery ticket almost. I mean, you're buying the book and you have a chance to win a chance to meet Eric Trump at Mar-a-Lago, and I'll be there too. But now you're also supporting the Charlie Kirk Foundation. But again, for anybody watching this, I mean this sincerely. I know when somebody passes, someone can find video clips of things they said we agreed with or we didn't agree with. But I can just say, as for the Clark House, we would just say, Charlie Kirk, way to go. Life well done.
Yeah.
And I just can't think of anybody who's led more people to church. I mean that statement than Charlie Kirk. So well done, Charlie Kirk.
Yep. Pretty remarkable, no doubt about it. Excited to learn from you today. Every time that we do a show with you, we are pulling nuggets from it, trying to apply as much as we possibly can. So what are we talking about today?
I got notes and a pen. I'm ready.
Now, Dave, real quick, can you just so I want to make sure I don't go over time today because I know we're going 90 miles an hour. So, Dave, if I get down to like the final 30 seconds, if you could say something subtle like
You're down to the final 30 seconds.
that'll help me sort that out. But there's three things I wanted to cover in today's show. So one is nothing works unless you do. That's the big idea. Nothing works unless you do. And I see people, I see wonderful people that confuse education with activation. They confuse education with compensation. So they say, I went to this conference, I have this certification, I have this degree. I read this book, I listened to this audio, I learned this information, but that in no way, shape, or form relates to the compensation you will receive or the activation. And I sent over a small clip to your producer there. I wanted to share if I can. There's a couple. Dominique is her name. She appears to be, we'll say it, under 30. And her man friend slash husband, Matthew, he appears to be under 30. And I always see people at my conferences, and Dave, you and Stacy have been a big part of these conferences. People will always tell me I'm too young, or I'm too old, or I don't know what I'm doing. And these guys got into a new industry. They're young, And now they've grown their business ninefold in 9 weeks. Ninefold, nine times increase in 9 weeks. In 9 weeks. And you say, well, Clay, how did they hear about you? Story goes, they've listened to my podcast for years and something clicked and they're going, I'm going to go to thrivetimeshow.com and I'm just going to come to a conference. And it turns out Matthew, the guy in the video, his sister now works here because she's like, I'm just going to get a job working for that guy. And so it's a powerful story, but a 9-time increase in their volume of leads in 9 weeks. And I think we have a brief, 30-second clip.
Matthew Sparger, this is Dominique, my lovely better half, and we own Legacy Foundation Group. So we went from 5 client-facing appointments, right, per week to now around averaging 10 per day. And and then ROI, right, if somebody wants to listen in and check in, ROI just last month versus what we put out versus the amount of business that we wrote was over 900% return.
So my name is Dominique Philando, and we own Legacy Foundation Group.
Legacy Foundation Group.
These guys, they sell insurance, they sell auto insurance, car insurance. Somebody watching today's show, this is what people tell me all the time. They say, I'm too old, I'm too young, or my industry is too saturated. And these guys are going, hey, this just in, there's thousands of insurance agents in the world. You might have heard about the concept of insurance. And we're not the only ones to do it. And we're having no traction. We don't know what to do. We've read a lot of books. We've learned a lot of things, but we don't know what to do. And I said, you know what? I can't mention his name on today's show, but the 44th highest earning insurance agent in the world is my client. And I started with a guy when he was not doing well. And now he's the 44th of all the insurance agents in the world. He's
insurance agents.
All insurance agents. And I'm like, I know the path. They go, we know that you know the path. So let's do it. And so, Dave, there's a certain thing where they're going, we're kind of done learning now. And now we just need to do it. Like we're kind of done learning. Like we know that we need to learn something. We have learned, but can we activate now? And that's kind of what I want to focus on today's show. So step number 1, the Bible says, Proverbs 14:23, it says, in all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips tendeth only to penury, which means extreme poverty or destitution. Let me read it again. In all labor there is profit, but the talk of the lips tendeth only to extreme poverty and destitution. That's pretty harsh, but that comes at us from the Bible. And Dave, there's somebody out here that you're getting all sorts of education. But we need to move into activation. And Dave, you and your wife have done that since a very young age. You've been entrepreneurs for decades. What do you say, Dave? What's your reaction to that for somebody who's like, man, I just want to learn one more thing, get one more book, and then I'm going to take action? How do you process that?
Well, in all fields, in sports, in business, in any area, there's always these stories of somebody who is much more gifted, much more talented, much more, certifications. It was interesting seeing about Charlie Kirk. He's all these clips of him talking to a PhD in economics who's not read Thomas Sowell, who's not read, some of these, basic fundamental things on economics, with no college degree, having the information and then, accomplishing great things. There's, in sports, regularly, the John Stocktons, there's the people that probably Tom Brady didn't stack up well at the NFL Combine. It's right. What you do and the actions that you take play a much greater role than the business card or the resume. I mean, 9 times out of 10.
Hey, Clay, real fast, can I just read that? Because I like that. I was looking at the different translations as you were going through that on the Proverbs 14:23. The New Living Translation says, works bring profit, but mere talk leads to poverty.
Woo, snap.
And that is exactly right.
I would point out another number, too, because I searched this when you said it. There's 902,000 health insurance agents. There's 686,000 property and casualty. So you're talking 1.6 million insurance agents in America, and you're coaching the guy that ranks 44th.
44th. And the guy went from the business was doing so poorly that his wife had to work a job to pay the bills and to offset the losses. I mean, that's how bad it was. And now he's the 44th highest earning. And I want to give people an example of this. I've known you guys now, we'll call it 4 or 5 years, and every single week, every single time I hop on this show, I don't know what kind of set I'm going to be greeted with, because you're always optimizing it, you're always updating it, you're always improving it. The website's improving, the show quality, the intros, the thumbnails, and it's because you're activating. And there's somebody out there, you've got to learn this rhythm of entrepreneurship, and I'll teach it to you right now. Step one is you want to define. You define, you go, okay, I've read all these books. I've defined what I want my goal to be. So you define. Step number two, you have to act. Dominique and Matt, they had to act. You've got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You got to go there. You have to go there.
Yep.
You got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You got to get your ticket for upcoming workshop. You got to use promo code FLYOVERConservatives. You got to do it. You got to get there. You got to get there. Okay. Step number three, okay, you define, act. You measure the results. Measure, go, okay, I'm taking action. What am I getting as a result of this? I measure, and then you refine. And that's the rhythm that never stops. Define, act, measure, refine. Now, step number two, Proverbs 10:4 from the Bible. It says, he becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. And that's Proverbs 10:4. And if it's possible, I would love for your a producer to pull up Eric's book again. Because I'll tell you this, when Eric sent me his book, okay, now just so we're clear, so you understand the process. I helped Eric, find the agent and find the team to work with him. And Dee and I worked on the cover and all that, right? And you guys knew a little bit of that, but I mean, it's all like, we're working on it. Now, if every time I got a copy of the book to edit, if I was a slacker about it, it would not have worked. So right. I'm reading this book cover to cover, and these are the statements I'm saying. I'm saying I'm taking out, I'm not kidding, guys, a stack of all of the pages, and I got my red marker out, and I'm going, this is how book editing works. And I'm going through, and I'm saying right here, this word is spelled wrong, or the comma should be here, or this word here, or this here. This entire chapter, let's throw it away. I think it slows down the pace, and I don't think it's needed. This chapter, we need to add some more detail here. This part, I have no idea what we're talking about here. Even though we worked on writing it, I still don't quite understand what we were trying to say here. And it's because there was when his father got shot, thank God he survived. There's a lot of detail in that moment, and you could write books about it, but we want to make it a chapter. When his father got shot, we want to make that a chapter, not a whole book, so we have to refine. So you start with hundreds and hundreds of pages, and you're whittling it down to the absolute best. When you're hearing about the raid on Mar-a-Lago, that's a historical event, and we want to put that into a chapter and not make it take the whole book, although it could. And so all I'm saying is I had to be diligent with that. I had to be diligent, means a consistent application of effort. And man, I'll just tell you my process. I'm sitting there at this restaurant. I took my wife out to a restaurant in Utica, and I'm reading this thing for like the 12th time. And I'm sitting there like, man, I have read this thing so much. I want this to be perfect. I got to read it one more time. And it's like, because it's not that I hate myself. It's I hate errors. I hate mistakes. I'm reading. My wife actually, I've said, could you double check my work? So I'm giving her the pages after I edit them. And we're sitting there at this restaurant, outdoor restaurant at Utica, just going through each page and page. Because when you submit that thing, it's out there.
Yeah. And
so all I'm just saying is diligence is the steady application of effort. And a slacker is someone that says, it's, we did our best, whatever. And I think, Stacy, that's something I've watched you do with your show. You eventually have to launch the show and you have to put it out there, but then you always have to take a step back and go, how can we make it 1% better this week? And I think there's that balance, because by default, you would never put out a show if you didn't just launch a show eventually. But then, Stacy, you can't settle, and you guys have consistently made your show better. And I think somebody out there is wrestling with that.
That's really important. I think that's where the team comes in. Obviously you've been a huge part of that. You've been our coach now for the last 5 years that we've worked with you. And, we would get on and you'd be like, okay, thumbnails need to be better. Okay, you guys need to be working on the first few minutes of when you're starting. You need to adjust this. You need to measure, monitor, adjust, and control. It's interesting because Boone Cutler actually just passed away yesterday. Very, very sad. And we were going through pictures. He was in studio, I think it was about a year ago. And we were looking at, we're like, wow, okay, we only had one camera in here. Look at the lights right there. Look at the table. And we were like, look how much this has changed in 1 year's period of time. Now we've got this desk here. We've got 3 cameras in front of us. We have all of these lights surrounding us, but we were recording. We were doing our very best at what we had at the time, and then constantly trying to get better and better all the time. I think that's really important. Measure, monitor, adjust, and control.
Now, Dave, move number 3 before you have to hang up on me today, because Dave, you have a busy broadcast day today. I don't want to go over. I don't want to be that guy. Point number 3. Proverbs 13:20 says, "He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed." He that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Proverbs 13:20. And I want to tell a true story about you guys, and I might have shared it on your show before, but your listeners need to know this. When you guys came to the Michigan, you were at the Michigan Reawaken event we did. It was in Detroit, Michigan, one of the final events we did. We were in Michigan, and Eric says to me, he walks in, and he's with security. He says, "Hey, where are the flyover guys?" Like, where are the flyover guys? And that's the first thing. And I said, "Oh, they're over here stage side." He said, "Well, I want to make sure I get on their show."
Wow.
And the reason why he said that, it wasn't to diss any other show. It wasn't saying he didn't like any other show. It's that he knew you guys had an eager heart posture. You guys sincerely were excited to interview him. He never got the impression that you didn't want to be there. You were eager. You were prepared. You had your notes. You asked thought-provoking questions. And he could tell that you guys really were all about performing at a high level. When Alina Haba came to that event, she said to me, "Clay, is such and such here?" And she was looking for a specific person that she knew, wow, this person is an A player, new to her life, but an A player, top performer. And all I can tell you is over time, because we did 25 events together, you started to notice there are A players. There are people that want to be on time. They want to do a great job as a speaker, as a presenter, as a vendor booth, as a media booth. And there's other people that, they're not really into time. They don't really do time. They don't really do preparation. And they happen to be knowledgeable about a certain area of life. But over time, it's the diligent people that began to hang out with the diligent people. And it wasn't about race or academia or credentials or monetary value. It's just that people who are wanting to become successful, we know subconsciously, the Bible tells us, we know that we will become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And so if you're watching today's show and you're having this challenge that I struggled with, I was a guy who grew up without money. And I chose the profession of a disc jockey. So I'm working at Applebee's, Target, DirecTV, and I'm not exaggerating. Most of the people I hung out with smelled like weed because they were smoking weed. Most people, this is pre-legalizing it, So most of the people I hung out with, they smoked marijuana a lot, and it wasn't allowed. It's not something I think anybody out there should do. But that's what they were doing, and it wasn't legalized. And it's because they were aspiring disc jockeys. And so the guys who worked for me were the kind of people that I really would not want to hang out with. And I found that, wow, I'm around people that are definitely going the wrong direction. They are my employees, but they're not people that I would want to hang out with. And so I had to pick up the phone. It terrified me to do so. And I had to cold call Clifton Talbert, the guy who introduced the Stairmaster, the first black man west of the Mississippi to open a bank. I had to cold call Dr. Zellner, and it terrified me to do so. I had to show up at their offices and basically beg them to allow me to shadow them, to take them to lunch. I had to cold call and beg David Green, the founder of Hobby Lobby, to let me shadow him. I had to cold call and beg George Foreman, the boxer, to let me follow him. I had to cold call the founder of Quick Trip and beg him to let me shadow. And most of these people would say no multiple times. And you'd say, well, why did I persist? It's because I knew that I would become the average of the 5 people I spent the most time with. And so every time I resorted to, look, I'll pay $1,000 for 15 minutes. And usually the secretary would go, okay, they'll take a meeting. And every single time they turned down the money, but they just didn't want someone wasting the CEO of a company's time. And I needed access. So that's what our conferences are going to do. They're going to give you 3 things, okay? You're going to be around people that are going to get your average intelligence up. You're going to be around successful people, very successful people, multimillionaires in the room. owners of professional sporting events in the room. The second is you're going to learn that practical education, that implementation thing, the people that actually activate. And the third thing I think it's powerful is you're going to have a good time. Eric Trump is hilarious, by the way, when he's allowed to be. When he's not under siege, he's hilarious. And so you're going to have a good time. You're going to laugh. We have the mariachis, the alpaca, helicopter rides. We've got a live band. We've got, I think the band at this one, I think we have 8 band members in the band. And we have enough room for like 4. So it's going to feel like a Wu-Tang Clan concert. We've got unbelievable. We have massive amounts of screens in here. It feels like Buffalo Wild Wings. We have great audio visual. We've fully expanded the upper deck now. We've completed the new waterfall. There's just so much fun stuff to see and do. The food's going to be great. I've got a pizza vendor, Dave. I've convinced him to serve pizza in a cup. I know a lot of people have not wanted pizza in a cup, but we're going to bring you pizza in a cup. Yeah. Ode to Steve Martin. So we're serving pizza in a cup. We've got Mexican food, not in a cup. It's just going to be great, Dave. We've got a coffee bar, food trucks. It's going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Well, one of the big benefits of your events is the numbers are contained to the space you have, which keeps them at a small enough number, a couple hundred, 200, 300, whatever, where you end up interacting with anybody you want to interact with, whether it's in the line for food or the restroom, or you're standing around, or you're getting ready in the morning, you get your seat, you're talking to people, there's breaks, there's Q&A. You get a chance to be around not just the speakers, but there he's got it, Steve Martin. Good job, Colton.
Producer Colton.
You get to be around people that are also in the hunt doing the things that you're doing, and maybe they're a step ahead of you, maybe they're a step behind you, but you're all in the pursuit of the same thing. And that camaraderie, that trade and paint with people and banging around with people that are doing what you're doing, and then maybe they've learned one thing you haven't. Sometimes that one idea is better than anything you take from a speaker at the event. So it's so valuable to be in that room.
You guys, again, I'm so honored to be here with your audience, and I want to go back to what you said, Dave, to start. But there's so much going on in the world today. And again, Charlie Kirk, rest in peace. Boone Cutler, rest in peace. But I believe that God is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. And to die on this earth is to gain for eternity. I really do believe that. And so even though we will miss them and their presence and miss Boone Cutler, and we're going to miss Charlie Kirk, I would not take a moment of your day to mourn, and I would take a moment of your day to celebrate. I wouldn't take even a second of your day to lament and to feel bad about their loss. And I would say, let's celebrate their gain. They're with their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And I know in the case of both Boone Cutler and Charlie Kirk, these are people that love the Lord and increasingly became unapologetic about celebrating their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, from major stages. So again, I believe those two men are with Jesus right now. And I encourage everyone to celebrate the lives of Boone Cutler and Charlie Kirk. Thank you guys for your time today. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, Clay, one last time. Can you give the phone number to text in to get tickets for this event, and also the one in December? What can they do to get that? 918 something something.
Yeah.
Put it on your The End Is Near cardboard.
Now, I'm throwing in a pretty hot deal right now, okay? So for anybody, if you text the number 918-851-0102, I'll give you a free sip of Dayquil if you come to our in-person workshop. So 918-851-0102. And again, this will get you a little immunity because it's like a community sip, so there'll be like 500 people having a sip of this thing. So it's 918-851-0102. You say, I don't want that winter cold. Take a sip of the Dayquil there, the community. It'll get that immunity up after 500 people have taken a sip. And then, Dave, if you text 918-851-0102, you use promo code FLYER, we have a chance to get a discount off the tickets, a chance to win a VIP ticket backstage pass. Also, again, Eric Trump, if you buy his book, it's such a fun deal. If you buy his book and you text this number, 918-851-0102, proof of purchase, you have a chance to win a day at Mar-a-Lago. This is one of the best properties in the world. Yeah. Eric and I are going to be there. Eric's going to be Eric Trump, and you're going to say, wow, he's great. He's fantastic. And then you're with me. I'm like the cousin Eddie of your trip. You're going to be like with Clark Griswold, a.k.a. Eric, and cousin Eddie. You get both spectrums. Wouldn't it be great to be at Mar-a-Lago with the most pale man in the history of the world? Something you're going to tell your kids about, folks. I'm excited, Dave. I'm excited, Stacy.
Thank you so much for joining us, Clay. We really appreciate your time.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days. So, and the phone's blowing up. Everything's just blowing up. You're right. It is like a rocket ship. So we're pinching ourselves, actually.
I learned at the academy, Kings Point in New York, acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
But I recognized at the age of 15, I'm going, you know what? I am not going to live that way. And so I started a company out of my parents' basement called djconnection.com. And I decided I am going to have success. And so I reached out to millionaires and people that I kind of knew through church and friendships and people that parents of my friends. And I said, what book would you recommend that I read? I'm a 15-year-old asking this question. True story. And I kept being told, you got to read.
Hello. Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Radio Show. It's an exciting time. Also, I think a treacherous time, a spooky time also. But it's always, danger is a good time. Today, my guest is Clay Clark, and I went out with Tom Wheelwright to visit Clay with Eric Trump also. And the reason I want to talk to Clay this morning is a very important subject called study. And the reason I say that is things are changing so fast, and many people are completely missing the show. Things are changing at rapid speed. Technology is changing. And so I went to Tulsa, again, with Tom Wheelwright and Eric Trump. And the thing I was so impressed about Clay is this word called study. I don't know, you guys must be in your water or something, Clay, but boy, I was so impressed how big you guys are. But what really impressed me was you have this huge congregation. They're all about guys your age. They're on fire. And you start your classes at 5 a.m. Now, let me talk to you about study here. We show our books here. Now, this is how I study. This is the creature from Jekyll Island. It's on the Fed. And Clay's doing the same thing. We study. So I go out to Clay's place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's built this huge compound out there. And you guys start at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not by Zoom. They drive there. They show up 5 o'clock, bright-haired, bushy-tailed and all this. And they're on fire. Your group is on fire. So that's why I was on Clay, this technology. You tell your group I was so impressed because, like I said, studies became a bad word. I got into fights in my own company because our staff didn't want to study anymore. And I don't know how they cannot do that. So Clay, anyway, welcome to the Rich Dad Radio Show. That's what I want to talk to you about is how do you do it? 5 o'clock in the morning, you have hundreds of people showing up in your huge auditorium on your property to study. Anyway, welcome to the show, Clay, and what turns you on so much? That's what I want to know. Give us a little about your background.
My name is Karime Schofield, and the name of our company is Whistle While You Clean.
I am Sophia Schofield.
We live in Cincinnati, Ohio, and we service the tri-state, so Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana.
We were getting a phone call. And we were like, why is someone calling our business line? That's unusual. And we picked it up and it was a lead.
I mean, it's been incredible, Clay. We've gone from 0 to 100% growth. We're like a full functioning company. It's great. We're blown away at how well we're doing. So working with you guys have really taught us a lot about generating leads and pursuing our Dream 100. So we have a list of customers that we want to market to. And so we've been making phone calls. We've been showing up in person. We're trying to get near the businesses that they would visit if they were visiting like a hair salon or something. And then we start calling them and we just start pursuing them. And then the other thing that we do is when we do cleans, we take a lot of video testimonials and we post those to our website so other customers can see. And then we also upload a lot of images of the things that we do. And so we're also asking our clients for Google reviews after we've cleaned their houses. And so it's this constant like cycle of doing those things over and over and over again. I would say if you're on the fence, go to one of Clay's conferences. They are hilarious. They're fun. They're educational. They're so good that even my teenagers like them. And I would say don't let fear hold you back. If you want to start a business, do the obvious thing and hire someone who knows how to run businesses. If I wanted to get in shape, I'd hire a gym person, a personal trainer. This is like the personal training for business. It has been absolutely amazing. I mean, our coach is encouraging. When he first met with us, he said, do we want him to be like a drill sergeant with us? What level of intensity do we want him to give us? And I will say he is incredibly, incredibly encouraging all the time. And he just hits the same mark with us every single time. It's very repetitive. But I think we both really learn a lot every time we sit down and have a conversation with him over the phone. He keeps pushing us to go further, and he can recognize when we're afraid to do something and he'll give us a little bit of grace, but that next week he's drilling us again, like pushing us to go harder. Our no-brainer offer is we are offering your first clean for $1. And that sounds absolutely insane. It even sounded insane when I was talking over it with our business coach. And I will tell you that that has generated some of our hugest clients. I mean, that has been like a game changer because it opened up the door to more clients, more recommendations, more leads. And we were surprised how far that dollar clean got us.
How important has it been for you to work out that scripting, even though you offer $1 for the first clean? How important has it been for you to nail that down?
It's been really important because it kind of it hones in so that you're not just all over the place when you're trying to explain what it is that you do. And a lot of times it's like you're a good person offering a good product and you have integrity and you want to communicate that. But when you go to communicate without a script or without practice, it's just like a mess coming out of your mouth, as opposed to having this, honed in practice where you know what you're going to say, you know how you're going to say it, and you can almost expect better results when you do it that way.
Had you ever been an entrepreneur before starting this particular business?
No, never.
Did you ever think about wanting to own your own business someday? Or when was the first time you thought, maybe I would like to open my own business?
Absolutely. I've probably been dreaming about it for about 10 years.
Okay. And let me go to your daughter here. Had you ever thought about wanting to team up and open your own business? Or was that something that you were maybe excited about or not so much?
Well, for me, my parents would always listen to your podcast and business podcast. And as I started listening to them, I started realizing that I wanted to own a business.
It's www.whistlewhileyouclean.com. Honestly, the hardest thing was getting over the fear. It was the fear of the unknown. There was like a cloud of doubt that, you can't do this, you're going to fail. There was a few sleepless nights there when we did pull the trigger and join your team and start the coaching process. Even my husband put a little bit of pressure on me from time to time because it was just absolutely scary to take that jump and actually start a business.
Whoa.